Hello, hi, welcome back to Success Automation. Today's in today's video, I'm going to talk about a property file, which is very important in the automation framework. So, what is property file? How to read the property file, and where the property file be used in the automation framework. I'm going to talk about that. So, if you see the definition of the property file, the property file object contain key value pair as a string. So, uh, in java.util, if you see here java.util, there is a class called properties. By using this properties class, you can fetch the data from the property file. So the property file, when you see the property file, we can create the property file like this. I'm just going to the Eclipse. Okay, this is the framework, and generally the property files will be stored in the resource, so test.resource folder. So I'm just right click here and new file. You need to select the file here, and the file name should be config.properties. So you need to give the name as a properties file name. Sorry, extension should be properties, and property file name can be anything. Config.properties, anything, selenium.properties, anything. So I'm just creating the properties file. So it has created here. If you see here, generally in the property file, in the property file, we'll put the URL, database name, and all that. So the property file contains key value pair. This is the key, and the right side will be the value. So anything you can give. For example, you want URL. Okay, any URL. For example, you want to give this URL. So you can give the URL here. So in config.property, generally we'll store the key value pair. So I just created the property file. URL is equal to this one, and you can give username also. Username, anything, something Imtiaz. So username is a key, and the value is in the value, and it will be separated by using equal to, by using the equal symbol. By equal symbol, you need to separate the key value format. So I just created the property file here. If you see here, config.properties, you have to give the name as a properties. Now this is your source, like the property file. As I told, the property file contains the URL, username, password, which is used for your framework, for your application. All the URLs you can put in the config.properties file. Now I'm just creating one package. Right click here, com dot something, some xyz project dot utils. Some util, like this you can create the package. Under this package, I'm going to create the Java class. Right click, class, Yeah, property reader, property reader. Any name you can give. Just for our understanding, I am giving the product. So now I am creating the class with the main method. So I created the property read file. Here in main method, I'll read the property file. So right, I'm just copying this. I'll explain each and everything here. So first thing is you need to put the file reader. You need to create the file reader object that is there in the IO package. This is accurate. This is the file reader is a Java API class. By using this file reader, you can read the property file. So what is our property file? The property file is config.property. Right click here, properties, go here and copy the location. So now what I have done, I created the file reader object. I created the file reader object. Under the file reader, I have put the location of the property file. The file reader will read the location of the file where this property file is. After that, as we are reading the property file, there is a class properties. This is Java predefined class. So I need to import this. Once I import this, it will be written here. If you see here, this properties class is there in the util package. Now I read the file and I created the property object. I just give obj properties. I created the property class object obj.property. Now as this is the check exception, you need to put in the try catch. This also I put inside this. Yeah. This also you can put inside the try. So here what I did, I created the file reader object. I'll put this also inside this. Okay. By using the load method, this load method belong to properties class. It will load the data from this config.properties file and it will store in this object. So by using this object get property, there is one method. This get property is there in the properties class. So whatever the property name we given, I just given user URL. put in the codes here. First I'll read this one. So what I'm trying to do, by using get property, I'm reading the URL key which is there in the properties file. So I'll just run this file, right click, and so location of the file. So if you see here, so whenever you want to put the location of the property file, don't put the slash here. Without slash you put and source, test, resources and property file. This config.property is there under the source, test, resources. So don't put the slash here. So now if you see here, when I put when I updated this URL, it printed the actual URL which is there in the config.property. See here. Like this you can read all the properties. So and I'll call another property username. So username here. I want to read another property, this password. Like this I'll right click here. Yeah. So like this you can read the properties from the property file. So where in automation how we will use. So when I want to access the URL, whenever I want to access the URL, I won't I don't I don't want to hardcode this. I'll read this URL from this config.property. So how we'll do? So for that I'll write another file. Just create another file. Config reader. So I just created the config reader class. Under this I'll create one constructor. So whenever you want to create the constructor, you need to put the class name, same thing, and two brackets and opening flower bracket and closing flower. This is the way you can create a constructor. So now I'll update this code inside this. I just want to declare as a class variable so that we can use anywhere inside the class. So I just created the constructor. Now I'll create one method. Return type is a string, get data. So here I'll return this, return. I'll pass the key. Hmm. So I created the get data with one argument key. Whatever the data, whatever the key I want to pass, I want to get that. So I created a class with constructor. In the constructor, I'm reading the property file so that whenever I create the object, the constructor code will be executed. But by using get data, I can get the data. So what I'll do, I'll go here, web driver. So I'll create this. I'll run the feature file. Otherwise, what I'll do, I'll create, instead of step file, I'll create another file. Yeah. So just create a general steps class with main method. So here I'm going to access the file reader class. So whenever I want to read this method, get data from the file reader, I need to create the object. That's the reason I'm just taking the obj config reader. So whenever you create the object, it will ask you the location. So just put import config. It will read the location of this file reader, which is there in this package com xyz dot util. So this is the package and the class there. So now we created the object. So I'm just creating one variable data equal to, I'm going to call this method get data object. What you want to access, whatever you want to access, pass this semicolon. Yeah, you have to make it public method because you are accessing outside of the class. So I'm reading by using get data method. I'm reading the URL from the property file here. So I'm just storing the data, whatever URL I get, I'm storing into this variable. I'm going to read. I'm going to print. So I'll just put some text here. Actual URL plus data. Like this, in general steps, any um, any file wherever you want to access the config reader file, you need to import this first and create the object. By using this object, you can read the you need to call the get data method, pass the key which you want to access. This key should be there inside the this config property, and if it is uppercase, you need to give uppercase. If it is lower, you need to give lower. Right click here, run the program. Cannot invoke null. Why it is giving error? Get property. Achha, we did not create the object, right? I did not create the object, that's why it was giving error. So I created the object now. Run a Java file. So now you got the URL. Like this, in the automation framework, we'll we'll store the URLs in the config.file, and any step file or any file wherever you want to read, you can get the config data by using this config reader file, and you can store in variable and you can use anywhere. Like this, you can read the property file by using the properties class. By using properties file, you can read the property file. So this is all about the properties file. Hope you understood. So in the next video, I'm going to release other topics. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel and share to your friends, and follow my channel, and um, also you can like my channel as well. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.